All right, welcome to the 2026 Patient Magnet Masterclass. My name is Chris Fink. I'm the founder of the MedSpa Agency, author of the Patient Magnet, host of Moving the Needle, and do a lot of speaking and engagements and education around operating a med spa practice, especially as it relates to the marketing and patient acquisition. And over the last years, I've helped practices scale from surviving to thriving. And today, I've been looking forward to this, diving into a 4-part framework that drives every 7-figure and multi-7-figure med spa practice that I've ever worked with. And the concepts boil down to this: the patient magnet, which in short is attract, convert, retain, and amplify. And this is a system that creates consistent, predictable demand, predictable revenue, and a waiting list for scheduling appointments for your practice. So let's dive in. Before we get too far into the concepts, though, I would like just a moment of your attention. I want to make this really high value for everybody. So please ask that you put down your cell phones, you log off of Messenger. If you're a med spa owner, you're serious about getting better results, stick with me for a short time, and I'm going to pour everything I have and everything that I possibly can into this time together. But I want you to get as much out of it as possible. You know, this is the patient magnet system. There are other systems out there that other practices use successfully, other agencies might promote successfully. This is the one that I know works, that I've implemented many times. So I want to start with that. And getting into that, start with the reality that most owners feel every single day. And that is that growing a med spa is harder in 2025 and will be in 2026 than it's ever been. It's the first time that we actually saw a turnaround in some of the volume demand. And competition is everywhere. Platforms have changed again and again, all the different updates. The old playbooks aren't working the same way that they used to. But what hasn't changed is human behavior. People still choose providers based on visibility, trust, authority, and experience. The challenge is most med spas don't have a system. They're doing tactics, not strategy. They're reacting instead of compounding. Now, most med spas stay stuck because, well, they don't fail because of a lack of effort, right? They want to grow. They want the right things. They fail because the effort is scattered. And they're trying to do too many things at once or the wrong things entirely. You didn't open a med spa to learn how to become a paid social expert or post all the time or write content for your blog or take new pictures. You did it to treat patients and to help change lives. And the real problem is a misalignment. Growth is impossible when you're doing the marketing, conversion, retention, reputation, and all 4 of those things are all disconnected. A system that is patched together with duct tape will always leak. This masterclass can fix that. We're replacing chaos with a clear, repeatable method that you can implement. So, the patient magnet framework. This is the patient magnet. 4 stages, 4 engines, and 1 compounding system. So, attract, convert, retain, amplify. Everything we do for clients fits into one of these 4 phases. Every tactic, every channel, every workflow. When these 4 work together, your practice becomes a self-reinforcing magnet for high quality, high lifetime value patients. So let's break down each phase. Let's start with attract. In attract, you need some core concepts. It's where most med spas struggle because they think visibility is the same as marketing, and it is not. To attract the right patients, you need 3 things working at the same time. You need visibility, proof, and relevance. Being seen isn't enough. People have to believe you. They have to trust you. They have to feel like you're speaking directly to them. So let's talk about the visibility ecosystem. There's a ton here. Your visibility, it is an ecosystem, actually. It's not a single channel. It includes Google, social, reviews, your website, your service pages, your reels, your before and afters, your educational content, and your ads. So the average patient journey spans 7 to 13 touch points before they ever book. And if you only show up in one or two of those, then you're going to lose by default. And this is why I reference often an omnipresent strategy, where everywhere they look, we want you to show up. And that's what we work towards. So, moving into 2026, the attract stack that we're going to use for clients is really going to focus around your Google business profile, local SEO, topic clusters, before and after engines, social proof distribution, audience building, paid discovery, and short form content. And this is not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things in the right sequence. And when your stack is aligned, then attention becomes predictable. And the goal of this, the goal of the attract stage, is not just more attention, it's qualified attention. We want the people who are already wanting aesthetic treatments, who are actively searching, who have disposable income, and who have intent. Most med spas waste half their budget attracting the wrong people. We don't want to do that. Attract is about getting the right eyes, the right people in your practice. So let's move on to convert. What convert really means is it's not about pushing sales, it's about removing confusion. A confused patient does not book. A hesitant patient does not buy, right? So we have to bridge the gap between interest and revenue. A skeptical patient isn't going to return, just like that. So the convert phase turns interest into revenue by giving patients clarity, confidence, and certainty. So there's basically 4 conversion levers that you can use here that drive conversion. They are clarity, authority, personalization, and follow-up. And most med spas have one of these working, usually follow-up, and even that tends to be inconsistent across the industry. So the power comes into play when you have all 4 aligned. Your booking rate, show rate, treatment plan, acceptance rates rise dramatically when everything's in alignment. So the conversion engine is really about inquiry, education, consultation, planning, and then getting started. Every step in this is engineered using tools from, all kinds of places like Marcus Sheridan's They Ask You Answer framework. Principles from Endless Customers methodology. We educate before we sell. We answer every major question before they ask it, and we remove friction before they feel it. And that is how trust accelerates between your providers and your patients. And the goal of converting is simple. Just turn interest into predictable revenue. And that's when you have success that you can plan on. It's when you have metrics that you can plan on, when it's predictable. You have a predictable pipeline, not random bookings, not sporadic spikes that you don't truly understand. Predictable, repeatable monthly revenue driven by a system, not by hope, thoughts, feelings, gut instincts. So now let's move to the phase that a lot of practices or businesses in general will ignore, and that's the retain phase. Retention is a profit engine. It's where wealth is created. New patient revenue keeps your lights on. Retention revenue builds your future. So a future patient, if you can retain them well, it can be worth 5 to 12 times more revenue than a new one, easily. Probably more. And the fastest way to increase profit is not to get more new patients, it's to keep more of the ones that you already have. This is not a new concept, but sometimes we don't need to be taught, right? We need to be reminded. And this has never been more true. The biggest expense in patient acquisition is the first time. And if you can keep them after that, the lifetime value compounds, your overall cost of acquisition seems better and better. So now there is a leaky bucket that happens, and most med spas have one. You're pouring money into ads, you're pouring money into SEO, you're spending money on social content, you're writing off money with promotions and incentives. And while half the patients that you work on that winds up having an impact, half also never return. So you've worked so hard to acquire them and they don't come back. And if you feel like you're sprinting and still not getting ahead, then it's very possible that your retention system is broken. So let's talk a little bit about the retention flywheel. This is in the book, The Patient Magnet, and just in case you haven't seen it, there it is. So it is available on Amazon, but if you want your own patient magnet blueprint, at the end of this, I'll show you exactly how to schedule and get one for your practice. So here's the retention flywheel. Rebook, review, and refer. So we want to get the client back on schedule before they leave. We want to collect public testimonials and social proof, so we can put that out there. And we want to get them to refer and encourage sharing with their friends or followers. These three actions multiply each other and you get compounding effects. Rebooking increases revenue. Sure. Reviews increase trust, and referrals decrease acquisition costs, right? Nothing better than a referral because it's free. So when this flywheel spins, your practice becomes more efficient, more profitable, and more stable. And we want to install this in every practice we touch. Now, the goal of retaining and retention is long-term lifetime value. This is where med spas stop chasing revenue and start compounding it. And this is also, maybe as a small surprise, this is also where stress goes down, margins go up, and your business becomes fun again. So now let's talk about Amplify next. What Amplify means is it takes what's already working and scales it, right? So if attract is the spark, convert is the engine, and retain is the fuel, Amplify is the turbocharger. So this is where you unlock your omnipresence, your authority, your advanced content assets, paid scaling, and strategic expansion, right? And when we get through those 4 pillars of Amplify, with channel expansion, authority building, systems and reputation, this is where we evolve practices from local players to local leaders. Now, when your patient magnet is running smoothly, you can scale horizontally. You add YouTube, you get some long form educational content, you get some short form content engines, you do some retargeting, partnership campaigns, and more. But you only do that after the foundation is stable and secure. There's a time and a place for everything. Now, authority is the great differentiator. Anyone can run ads, anyone can post before and after photos, but when you become the educator in your market, you win the highest value patients and the longest lifetime value. And this is where the patient magnet and honestly the they ask you answer framework intersect. And growth is operational. It's not just promotional. So Amplify means your systems, your front desk workflows, your follow-up, your scheduling, your content engine, and your team all scale with you. And this is where some of our fundamental principles come into play. We operationalize success so it's no longer dependent on heroics or individual tactics. So the reputation flywheel: collect, respond, repurpose. There we go. This is the reputation flywheel. It's also referenced and written about more in the book. And the short version is, though, that you collect reviews on every platform that you can, and you respond to every one, and you repurpose those, the best ones, and you share them in ads and social content, landing pages, authority assets. And when this flywheel spins, your reputation becomes self-reinforcing. And the goal of Amplify is leadership. It's category leadership, market leadership, perception leadership. You don't compete any longer. You win by default because you have built an ecosystem that is harder to copy than a single tactic. So full patient magnet flywheel integration comes here. When you can see how this entire system works together, right? Attract, convert, retain, and amplify. And with your collect, respond, and repurpose flywheel spinning with that, now you can see the entire system working together. Attract brings the right people. Convert turns them into paying patients. Retain multiplies their value. And amplify expands your reach and reputation. This is the patient magnet, and it's a unified system designed for long-term growth. Now, this works because it's built around behavior, not trends. People respond, always have, and I foresee they always will. People respond to clarity and they respond to authority. They trust consistency and they'll refer experiences. So this is not a tactic. This is a business engine. And this is a way to proceed with pretty much any business that is client facing. So now, if you want help installing the patient magnet in your med spa, here's what can happen next. We can schedule a strategy session. We can analyze your current system and we'll build the patient magnet blueprint. Based on this, we give you a clear path. We want to grow your practice with less stress, more predictability, and more high-value patients. And if you want to book your patient magnet strategy session, I'll have the link below in the show notes. My name is Chris Fink. I'm the author of The Patient Magnet, the founder of the Med Spa Agency, and host of Moving the Needle. Thank you for being here. And if you find value in this, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. Share this with another practice owner that might get some value from this, and reach out and let me know if you want clarity on any of the topics that I covered here. Thank you for being here, and let's build something incredible together.